Do you want to pass your real estate exam, national and the Texas state exam? Well, on here, you're going to practice questions with me and also review the answers. So I'd like you to participate while I go through the class because it is live, and between each question, I will give you time in order to answer. If for some reason you get it incorrect, it's okay. Just take another opportunity. And if you're doing the replay, hey, you can fast forward as I do take time between each question. All right. So this is Lillie Handy Dominguez with YouTube Agent Prep, helping you prepare for your real estate exam for Texas or also for national. Today, we're doing only Texas questions, though. There are many other videos that cover vocabulary, Texas questions, and also lots of national questions. Okay, so let's get going. And I continue the class from the prior video. All right, there we go. So we're starting out with 1316 is test number 13. And the topic on this test is standards of conduct in brokerage practice. Okay, standards of conduct in brokerage practice. Keep that in mind while we're reviewing these questions. Oh, bad. It's showing the answers. I don't want to show you the answers at this point, so bear with me here. Okay. And remember to time the letter answer so that we are all on the same page. And anyone watching the replay and during the class can know which question we're responding to. All right. The Jordans and the Couriers have jointly directed the broker, Michael, in writing to pay out the earnest money deposit to the courier's son, Stephen. Despite the fact that this action is not stated as permitted disbursement in the sales contract, Michael refuses to disperse. Which of the following is correct? Okay, so let's review the question. And let me see if I can remove the branding on here because it's covering some of the question. There we go. So it says that the Jordans and the Couriers, that's the sellers and the buyers, have jointly directed the broker, Michael, in writing, okay, very important, in writing, to pay out the earnest money deposit. So that's the deposit that the buyers put in as earnest money, good faith money that they are really serious about buying the property. And they want him to, the earnest money deposit, to release it to the courier's son, Stephen. So the couriers are the buyers, the sellers, okay? Even though the contract doesn't state that. Now, we know that if it is put in writing and both parties agree, then it's acceptable. It can be released. So which one is correct? A, Michael must disperse the funds as directed. Michael is the broker. B, Michael must follow the provisions of the sales contract and refuse the directive. C, the principals have made an improper request and the matter must go to arbitration. D, the matter must be remanded to the registry of a court for settlement. So what must Michael do? This is a must. So keywords to pay attention to are, broker, that's Michael, earnest money deposit, in writing, and what is disbursement, and what is disburse. Okay, so those are vocabulary. And then provisions, directive, who are the principals, arbitration. These are all vocabularies that are within the questions and the answers, that when you know those vocabularies, they'll help you answer the question. And registry. Type your answer in the chat. Remember the question number and the letter answer. And I'm streaming this to YouTube and also to the AgentPrep Real Estate Exam private group. Take a risk, okay? This is the time for you to participate. Type an answer. If you're not sure, go ahead, type an answer. Take your best guess, because that's what you're going to do in the real exam, right? You're going to take your best guess. And if it's not correct, I will explain why not. So the answer here is A. Michael must disburse the funds as directed. Why? Because Jordan and the couriers directed that in writing, right? Jordan's and the couriers directed that in the broker Michael. Therefore, it is legitimate. So the answer is A. And disburse is to give the money, pass the money, okay, write a check to the sellers. And the funds that they're referring to is the earnest deposit money. And that happens whenever there is a fully executed contract that goes to the escrow officer, be it a title company or an attorney, then that money is deposited into the trust fund of that organization. And the majority of transactions close at a title company because they're going to issue a title policy in the request of the buyer. Number 17. A home seller makes a legitimate written demand for a buyer's earnest money deposit following an undisputed buyer default. In this case, the broker is, so let me point out some keywords. Home seller, legitimate, a written demand. What is a written demand? That's a vocabulary. Written demand for buyer's earnest money deposit following an undisputed. What is undisputed? Nobody fought it. The buyer did not fight it. And what is default? The buyer defaulted, couldn't end up following through with the contract. They couldn't perform in the contract. So in this case, the broker must do what? A, must disperse the funds within 7 days of the demand. B, must disperse the requested funds within 30 days. C, must notify the buyer in advance of an imminent withdrawal from the trust account. Or D, must return all funds less any earned commission and marketing costs. Type your answer in the chat, the question number and the letter answer, please. So the answer is 13.7B. Must disperse the requested funds within 30 days. So what happens when a buyer or a seller provides a written demand for the earnest money deposit to the title company or whoever is the escrow officer, it could be an attorney, that escrow officer will send the letter to both parties, the seller and the buyer, and see if they'll either accept or they will reject. If there is no one rejecting, which the buyer here was undisputed, then it belongs to the seller. So the buyer realized they are in default, so they're going to release the earnest money. Both parties in Texas must sign the earnest money deposit release. If it isn't signed, then they send a demand letter, and that allows the release from the title company or whoever is the escrow officer, be it an attorney. Number 18, trust funds. What kind of funds? Trust funds, right, that are deposited into a trust account. Documentation must be maintained by the broker for what period of time? And again, we're looking at we're reviewing Dallas, Texas, Texas questions. Okay. Trust funds documentation must be maintained by the broker for what period of time? Is it 1 year, B, 2 years, C, 3 years, or D, 4 years? So how many years must we as realtors and brokers maintain our documentation, including trust funds, if it's a broker or a title company or an attorney? But in this case, they're referring to the broker. Because brokers can also be closing companies. They can also have a trust fund. In the old days when I started, well, not so old days, the brokers would have a trust fund and hold on to the earnest money deposit until the contract was executed and sent to the title company. Therefore, they would deposit it, they being the broker, would deposit it into their trust account and then write a check to the title company when it was executed. That way, no one was holding on to any monies. So no one is taking a risk today. Number 19. Okay, it's going to have to be a little bit small, not too small. I like to accommodate individuals that, there we go. Okay, number 19. So 18 was D. So whoever is here, why don't say who you are? Type your name on the chat. So at 5 o'clock, a lot of traffic from people that are getting on the internet. So that's what causes, even with a high-speed internet, which I do have, it does happen. Okay, number 19. A buyer and seller have a serious disagreement about the payment for repairing a defective water filtration system in the subject property. What is the subject property? It's the property that is being sold. So they have a very serious disagreement between the buyer and the seller about repairs for a particular item, being the defective water filtration system. The buyer gives up and demands the deposit back. The seller disagrees, claims the buyer has defaulted, and demands the earnest money as liquidated damages. What should the broker do? A, follow the instructions of the broker's attorney. B, pay the trust money and pay the trust money into a registry of a court and let the courts resolve the issue. Or C, submit the dispute to the local board of realtors for arbitration. Or D, conform to the terms of the sales contract. Be very careful with questions like this, because even though there is a contract in place, remember that it allows for resolving on our own. It allows for mediation and then for arbitration if no one can come to a conclusion, to a decision, right? And arbitration, if that doesn't work, goes then to the court. And then who decides? The court, the judge. And here comes the judge, right? So type your answer in the chat, the question number and the letter answer. Okay, the answer here is B. Pay the trust money into the registry of a court and let the courts resolve the issue. So the buyer deposited some earnest money and they had a home inspection and they found that, we're assuming there was a home inspection. If not, they determine, because there's no other way to determine defective water filtration system unless the seller has informed them. Okay. And if the seller doesn't repair it, then they can either, the buyer can either follow through, okay, and purchase the property as is, or have it repaired during the escrow process, the closing process, or they can terminate. Well, here the buyer wants the seller to repair it, and obviously the seller disagrees and has claimed the buyer defaulted. So when there's two parties that can't come to a decision, went through mediation, arbitration, then now that trust money goes into a registry of a court and lets the court decide. And it becomes more expensive. Number 20. Let's see if I can get it really large. There we go. Number 20. A licensee wants to sell a subdivision lot she owns. So who wants to sell the subdivision lot? The licensee, a licensed realtor. What does the licensee have to do that is any different from a non-licensee selling the lot? A, the licensee must provide current market value documentation. B, the licensee may not list the property with the broker. C, the licensee must tell the buyers that she is licensed as soon as they meet one another. Or D, the licensee must disclose her license status in writing before signing any contract. So be very careful to words, okay? They are, most of them have a word called must. Sometimes when the word must is used, that might be the answer. In this case, there are 3 of them that, hey, must. One of us may. However, as realtors, as licensees, what is something we must do when communicating with anyone? Type your answer in the chat, the question number and the letter answer. No one, huh? The answer is D. The licensee must disclose her or his license status in writing before signing any contract. So if they're completing a contract, then they must do it before signing that contract. And there is a statement, there is a an item within the contract. It allows one to disclose. It asks the questions. If we are a part of the transaction, then we would fill that out as a Texas licensed realtor. So it has to be disclosed in writing. Now, if we're communicating with buyers or anyone else, we must disclose that we are a realtor. So what does a licensee have to do that is any different from a licensee? Must disclose our license status in writing. Now, the other ones don't work because the first one says, A, the licensee must provide current market value documentation. It's not a must. B, the licensee may not list the property with her broker. We don't have to. If it's a for sale by owner, we can sell it as a for sale by owner. Doesn't have to be listed with a broker. So it is a true statement, may not list the property with her broker. C, the licensee must tell the buyers that she is licensed as soon as they meet another. Yes, that we are supposed to do. However, the most accurate answer is the licensee must disclose her license status in writing before signing any contract. So C, right, licensee must tell the buyers that she is licensed as soon as they meet one another. That we do have to do, okay? However, if we're writing a contract, it is a must. It must also be in the contract. Okay, hold on here. Something happened to my internet on Facebook, so having some interruptions here. All right, let's go to the next question. #21. If you have any questions, feel free to ask while we're doing this. And I will do my best to correctly. If not, we will Google it. Right, number 20. A sales agent maintains a website where listing information is protected by a password. In this instance, such listing information is considered what? So again, a sales agent maintains a website. We all have a website either provided by our broker. If we're independent, we create our own. Even if we have one with a broker, we can also create our own and pay for that. And they have listing information that is protected by a password. In this instance, such information is considered what? A, advertising subject to regulation. B, website advertising subject to identification requirements. Or C, not to be advertising due to the password protection. Or D, website scraping. Which answer do you think it is? Type your answer in the chat. Okay, so in this case, the answer is B. Website advertising subject to identification. I'm sorry. C, not to be advertising due to the password protection. So that is not considered advertising because anyone who joins the website has a password, and so they are voluntarily going into the website. So it says agent password. Such listing information in this case is considered not to be advertising due to the password protection. All right, we're to question number 22. So I may have to start doing this at 6 o'clock because too much interruption at 5 o'clock. So let me share the page. It knocked me off. Okay, y'all be patient. Um, not a whole lot that I can do when the internet is struggling for me or for us. So I'm trying to share the page so you can see the questions, and it's taking this good old sweet time. All right, there we go. Number 22, which of the following would not, okay, not be considered advertising? A text message to a friend to list her property. B, a billboard message to the general public. C, a phone message to a client. Or D, an email to prospective client. So think about it. Which one would not be considered advertising? A message you send a friend, a billboard, a huge billboard advertising we see on the street, on the road, on the freeway, a message to a client on a phone, a text message or email message, or email to prospective. Which one would not be considered advertising? The answer here is A, a text message to a friend to list her property. So they've already been probably in discussion and they've agreed to put their property. I'm sorry. That would be advertising. She's advertising, asking her client to list. I'm getting off with all these interruptions. So if we already have a client and we're sending them a message discussing about a property, then that is not advertising, right? Because we already have an agreement, an agency agreement, right? A phone message to what? It says a client. A text message to a friend, yes, could be advertising. A billboard message, yes, to the general public. I'm going to see if I can do a couple more questions. If not, we may call it a day. So a phone message to a client is not considered advertising. That was 22C. Number 23. One criticism is that critical requirement of licensee advertising is that it is A, identify the name of the broker, B, identify a specific property, C, refrain from using the broker's assumed name if it is not registered, or D, avoid subjective exaggerated descriptions. What do you think is a critical requirement of licensee advertising? What must? Who do we hang our license with? We hang our license with a broker, so identifying the name of the broker is a must. It is a critical requirement. Okay, that is one of the critical requirements of licensee advertisement, is that we must always disclose the name of our broker. Doesn't require the address and their phone number. It does require the logo, the name of the brokerage. Okay, number 24. Let's hurry up through this. A broker stops using a registered assumed name. What must the broker do to comply with law? So you as a broker, or I as a broker, have a registered assumed name. What must I do to comply with law if I stop using that name? A, notify the commission within 15 days. B, notify the commission within 30 days. C, register a new assumed name within 30 days. Or D, run a public notice for 7 days at the broker's expense. The answer here is B, notify the commission within 30 days. So the broker must give the 30-day notice per regulation, okay, prior to discontinuing the registered name. The broker must not take on another assumed name, nor is public notice required. So it's not required to take another name, okay, or a public notice. So we have to do it prior to deciding to terminate using that assumed name, not 30 days after. Number 25, internet advertising requires disclosure of the advertiser. A, unless the user is employing the medium of social networking. B, on the phone, on the home page of the site. C, on each page of the HTML. So internet advertising requires disclosure of the advertiser where? So it's saying, do we do it? So we don't advertise unless the user is employing the medium of social required on the home page of the site, or is it required on each page of the HTML document? If you don't know what HTML is, then vocabulary, look that up. Or D, in the URL of an ad, find out. So whenever we're advertising and we're doing it online, we're going to do it on C, internet advertising, right? So that's going to be online. requires disclosure of the advertiser on each page of the HTML document. So on every page that we have on our website, on any internet advertising, we're going to have to disclose our advertising, that we're a brokerage, that we're a realtor. So this is something you really, really want to ingrain in your mind that we must do in order to stay in the clear. And to stay legal. So the answer is 1325C. All right, so that is 10 Texas real estate questions that we did tonight, even though we had interruptions. And let me show you the book. This is the book that we're using, that we've been using throughout the question for national. Since I'm in Texas, I hope to do other So thank you for attending my class. If you like this class, or if you like this prep, okay, to prepare for your Texas real estate exam, hey, tap that like button. And if it's your first time to my channel, YouTube Agent Prep, you know what to do, right? Tap the subscribe button, press that key, tap the ring that little bell so that you get notified anytime I upload any videos. I am also uploading videos on how to build your business, how I got started, and how I got my first 25 listings. So start paying attention to those. Once you pass your real estate exam, I am providing education to getting your business going or building it when your first or second year, as I've been doing real estate for a few years in 3 different markets. So this is Wild Lily Handy coming to you with YouTube Agent Prep from San Antonio, Texas, to help you prepare for your real estate exam for Texas. In Texas, we take a national, okay, and a Texas exam. Should you not pass one of them, let's say you don't pass the national and you pass the Texas, you only have to repeat the national. You have 3 opportunities to take both exams. Should you not pass one of them for 3 attempts, then you must repeat one of the 6 courses that you took. Should you not pass all 2 exams, then you must repeat 2 courses that you took from the Texas real estate exam. Typically, TREC recommends that you take the Principles 1 and Principles 2, which has the most information, Principles of Real Estate. Okay. And if for some reason you don't pass, hey, don't beat yourself up. Many of us don't pass the first time, including myself. I took it in Oregon, I took it in Michigan, didn't pass the first time. Luckily in Texas, I only had to take the state exam because I was licensed in Oregon. And so just keep studying, change your method of studying, your schedule, put it on your calendar, Be consistent on your studying habits every day at the same time. Put it on your calendar. Let your family know to support you during your studying process and that you're preparing for an exam. Otherwise, it makes it really tough to learn the material and prepare for it. Do lots and lots of vocabulary. Learn the vocabulary. The vocabulary is the basic language of real estate, and it's a must to understand in order to help you pass or answer a lot of the questions. Once you've understanding the vocabulary or you study it every day, then practice lots and lots of questions. There's a lot of free questions on the internet that you can download. Texas Real Estate Commission has lots of questions on the FAQ, frequently asked questions, that you can study. Repeat the same questions over and over until you get a 100 score. You will become more comfortable with the questions, with the material, and how they are asked, keywords within the questions and the answers, vocabulary, and don't be surprised if you see questions that you've never heard or seen before. Okay, they're there to not trick you, okay, but see if you understand the material. So don't beat yourself up if for some reason you don't pass. And review other videos that I have over vocabulary, national questions in Texas. I've been doing this on YouTube since about almost 3 years, okay, this coming November. So lots of material. If not, there are other YouTube channels that also help you prepare. You know, Prep Agent, Real Estate Wizard, Real Estate Advantage, lots and lots of YouTube channels that help you. One of them will fit your style of studying. Don't stick to just one. Find the one that best meets your needs to prepare to pass your exam. Okay? And just know that this is the first step, because once you pass your exam, then the real world happens on dealing with real live people to help them solve their problems when it comes to real estate buying, selling, or investing. Until next time, catch you all later. This is Lillie Hendy with YouTube Agent Prep, coming to you from San Antonio, Texas.